And that takes us to the issues as the Anglican Church in North America, what we've discovered of what we're seeing again is our method and our mission. Okay? If I were to describe what our method is in the Anglican Church in North America, I'd say it has three parts. Our method is first converted individuals. Okay? You really got to work with converted individuals. And God, through all the stuff we've lost, as I've said, has actually helped us to be much more converted than we were before. Okay? Well, again, God, what is He disciplines whom He loves. Right? Converted individuals in multiplying congregations. Okay? I didn't mention in the story that I told at the beginning that Grace Slippery Rock, which now sees most Sundays 150, 160, mostly students, was founded by a congregation 20 miles down the interstate of 70 people on a Sunday. And they identified this young man who's now the rector of that congregation and deployed him 4 years ago. And this year, they identified another young man whom they've put on another campus. So this little congregation of 70 that's now got one church of 150, 160 folks on an average Sunday is now planting another congregation on another college campus. And they've partnered with yet a third church that had kind of lost its way, an old church. And they've helped to find one of our new ordinands to take that church as the priest in charge. A little congregation of 30, it's now founded 2 churches in the last 4 years and partnered with a third. Multiplying congregations. This Anglican 1000 movement, it's a mystery why. I mean, when I was invested as Archbishop in June, I said my prayers and God said, a number of things that you all need to deal with. And one of them is you're supposed to say, plant 1,000 churches in 5 years and it doesn't matter what they think of you. What's this Anglican bishop doing talking about planting 1,000 churches when we only have 700 when we came together? I would just point out that we've passed the 800 mark in our congregations, which is a rate of 3 new churches a week since June. Okay. We didn't do it, God did. And again, I know that you here in the Anglican District of Virginia and the Diocese of the Holy Spirit and the AMIA group that's in Washington, I know that you all are really committed to planting new churches. And you've been at that for some while. But God gave us this. And how many of you were there in Plano in Texas when I was invested as Archbishop? A bunch of you were. You remember when I said, and God's calling us to plant 1,000 churches in the next 5 years. What happened? They started to whoop, and clap and stand up. I mean, now, you do that among Anglicans, when you're telling them you're going to plant churches. It's clearly a sovereign move of God, right? That hasn't been our MO, right? But it's what God is doing. Multiplying congregations really means, as those who look at movements and at congregational development, really means that what's got to happen is every congregation's got to be planting another congregation at least every 2 years. And in those congregations that are planted, at least 50% of those who are brought in need to be adult converts. Okay? We'll know that we're getting near where we need to be when most of the time when the bishop comes, it's adult baptism rather than adult confirmation. Because adult confirmation means we're just shifting Christians around, right? The Anglican mission in the Americas has been really good in its decade of life in continually pointing the church toward the 130 million who don't know Jesus. And they need to know Jesus. And the only ones who are going to show them Jesus are us. So again, as we think about multiplying congregations and converted individuals, what we need to be clear about is that one of the easy, practical measures of all this is how many adult baptisms are there. And let that be the measure of this church. And indeed, 1,000 new congregations will begin. They'll just begin. They'll set a pattern in the life of this new church. Set a pattern that will need to go on for generations of churches that exist principally for those who are not our members. Converted individuals, multiplying congregations, fueled by the Holy Spirit. We used to think that the way to do this was with money, right? Most of us have learned that actually when God takes away the money, God still has the stuff, right? I mean, I know it has surprised us. And we've tried to hold on to the stuff, and the stuff is useful, but the real fuel is not having the resources. Gracious sakes, of all the denominational traditions in North America, if it was a matter of having the stuff, we should have taken the land, right? Yeah. I mean, isn't that true? And interesting how we're doing better at taking the land now that we don't have the stuff. Again, if you keep the stuff, it's all right. Again, it depends on how it's used, but understanding, and that's what we're coming to, is a new self-understanding that the real fuel is the fuel of the Holy Spirit. The real fuel is what God can do, and what God can do with those who are submitted to Him, converted to His purposes in His bodies, which are congregations through which He reaches communities and reaches the world. We understand in the Anglican Church in North America in a way we haven't understood in a very long time, I think. Most of our folks know what our mission is. If asked, most of our folks will say it's reaching North America with a transforming love of Jesus Christ, right? Would you just say that with me? Reaching North America with the transforming love of Jesus Christ. That's our mission. I see Patrick up there. Reaching Winchester with the transforming love of Jesus Christ. It's all about meeting people with Jesus' love and taking them, remaking them in the power of the Holy Spirit into what God has in mind for them rather than what they in the rebellion have in mind for themselves. We understand who we are. We understand what our method is. We understand what our mission is.